Hello and welcome. I'm Devin, and in today's video I am going to bring you along with me for the second installment of my porch project. In a previous video I had worked on some of the plantings around my porch, and in today's video I'm going to be working more in the porch with a couple things outside of the porch as well, but mostly inside of the porch. So I'm starting you off today with this little vintage plant stand that my mom had actually gotten at a thrift store, and it was in pretty rough shape. It was covered in thick layers of crackle paint, and who knows how old these layers of paint were. So I went ahead and used that citrus stripper. I coated the whole plant stand in it and I let it sit overnight, took the bag off in the morning. So here you see me scraping down this entire plant stand. It was really difficult. It was a big pain in the butt, and I did not get it perfectly, but I did my best. I just used this metal scraper and just scraped away. After spending a long time trying to scrape off all of that paint, I decided to rinse all of that citrus stripper off, and it still left this sticky residue. So after it dried, I tried to sand it down to see if that would help, but it still just wasn't coming off. So I tried this mineral spirits, and I just poured a generous amount onto my cloth, onto the stand, and just wiped the whole thing down really well with the mineral spirits. And after that dried, all of that sticky residue seemed to come off, and it seemed like it was finally good enough to start painting. And the paint spare is back. This thing has come in so handy for all of these little projects, but I decided to use the same paint color, the Bear paint color. It's called Flagstaff Green, that I got at Home Depot, on this little plant stand, just to mimic that same color that I used on my obelisks that you can see in the back here. I really love how it complements them, and this light sagey green color really stands out in the shadier spots, like in my front porch and in my back shade bed, really well. So overall, I am super happy with how this little project turned out. With that project done, it is time to start evicting some of these plants. I just had all of these plants stashed on my porch now for weeks, so I recruited help from my kids and started loading up boxes. This is my son Mason. My daughter is helping as well today, and my other son Carson is busy mowing the lawn. So I put them to work and just put all of these plants out on my patio and left the ones out on my porch, what I was going to be using today. after cleaning off as much as I could with my blower, I got out my power washer and tried to start power washing the porch. It was pretty grimy looking after the whole last season. I think we only power washed it one time last season. We usually try to do it in the spring and then again in the fall because of all the plants. It just gets that buildup of that mossy, like green residue all over the place and just looks pretty grimy by the end of the season. So I did what I could to make this a little bit better, and then wouldn't you know it, our hose sprung a major leak and it was completely unusable. So I was not able to finish my job and left with a half clean porch. So we'll have to get that fixed, and I will get to that at another time. Well, it is a few days later after I attempted to clean the porch. It is still a little bit grimy looking because we have not had our hose fixed yet for the pressure washer, but we will get there. Today is a glorious, sunny, warm day. It's about 70 degrees. We have had so much rain lately, so I am really loving today. We had rain almost all of last week and all weekend, and we're supposed to get rain the next 2 days. So lots of rain, but I am trying to embrace it and be grateful for it because last year, I remember, I think it was in May, we had almost a month of drought. So that was really bad. So I'm really trying to just enjoy it because who knows, you know, what might happen in the summertime. But today, because we have nice weather, I want to get this whole porch wrapped up. I have some plants that need potted, and just to bring the decor back on the porch, get it all arranged for summertime. We love sitting out here in the warm weather. It's such a relaxing place to sit. So I just want to get it all taken care of. I'm going to show you what all I have in my driveway. I did have it all stashed up here. I just moved it out there to make it a little bit easier to bring stuff in. It will work with one thing at a time. So I'm going to turn you around and show you what I've got, and we are going to get to work. All right, I pulled everything off, and this is the stash of stuff that I have to work with. I've got some containers that I'm gonna pot up, and this guy is a Eugenia topiary that needs repotted. Its pot container that it's currently in is a little bit small for it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. You can see the table that I got painted. I absolutely love it. And I have some begonias right here that I'm actually gonna put out by our front tree, out by our Autumn Brilliance serviceberry in our front yard. I thought I would put them around there. I did have them for a container project, but I'm not gonna use them for that. So I thought they would look really cute. And look at the ajuga, still going. I can't get over how beautiful this is. I think it's starting to fade, but look how much it's spread all throughout the bed. This I only put in last year, and it's almost covering this entire front section. I just think that is so beautiful. I love the purple flowers and the dark foliage. It's so pretty. So I think I am going to start with these begonias. These are the Surefire Rose Begonia by Proven Winners. I have some for my front for the porch, and then I'm going to put the rest around the tree. These are awesome plants for sun or shade, which I have a lot of varying conditions in the front here, and they're upright and they can grow anywhere from 12 to 24 inches tall. So they can put on a pretty good size. I expect them to fill out around the tree really nicely. I think that they'll just be a really nice added touch out front here. So we have this serviceberry out here, and then our landscaping in the front here. And then we don't have anything else in the yard. I would really like to add some corner beds. One year, I'm not sure when, if that'll be next year. Definitely not this year, but just something to kind of finish off this front area. But right now we just have this serviceberry right here. So I think that having these begonias right here will just be a nice little extra added touch. And then I also have this little bed around the mailbox. And I got these trellises at Aldi. I'm telling you about all my Aldi finds lately, but these are for some climbing vines that I'm gonna do here. These were $9 a piece. I thought that was a really good deal for black metal trellises. So run out to Aldi again if you want to get some really cheap, nice looking trellises. I went ahead and placed all of my begonias around the serviceberry. I just spaced them evenly. They might be about, I don't know, 8 inches apart or so. There's 6 of them. So I just put them, you know, evenly around the tree. So I am going to go ahead and use this Osmocote that I use for my sun patients to fertilize these begonias. This is just a slow release fertilizer that you put directly into your planting hole. I just sprinkle a little bit in there, and it just helps to feed the plant slowly over time. Really, it'll feed it for the whole summer. I probably won't even need to give these any other kind of fertilizer. And I did have a question whether or not it was organic, and no, it is not organic. I do not use a lot of it. I just mainly use it in the front here, and just for these annuals that I want to be high performing. I am trying not to use too much of it. I have honestly only used it in the front, not in the back. In the back, or actually no, I did use it in the back last year. I did use it for my impatiens in the back last year. This year I'm gonna run an experiment, and I'm going to only use compost for my impatiens in the back, and maybe a little bit of organic Espoma flower tone, just to see how that compares to using this slow release Osmocote. I, have no judgment if you want to use some non-organic materials in your garden as well. I am trying to use as little as possible, and just trying to build my soil naturally through mulching and composting and all of those good things that build healthy soil. And little by little, I might decide to get rid of and not use the Osmocote at all, but for now it really does work very well for me, and just really helps these annuals to perform at their best here at the front of the house. All right, begonias are in. They are looking so pretty. They're gonna fill this whole space in so nicely. And I think they complement those pink sun patients that I have up there and the purple really well. So I'm excited for these to grow. I'm just gonna work on filling my containers now. I kind of have my plants divided into what container I think that I wanna put them in. So this container, I love this pot. I got it from Home Depot a couple of years ago. It's one of those all-weather pots that kind of looks like a clay pot, but it's not. It can withstand the cold temperatures without cracking. So I always use it on my front porch, but I have these 3 begonias, just like what I put around my tree. These are the same color, the Surefire Rose begonia. And I'm just gonna do a real simple grouping in this container, just 3, and that's it. So I'm gonna fill it with my Miracle-Gro potting soil. I got a big fresh bag today at Home Depot. All right, that looks about right. And I just love these so much because they can literally withstand shade or sun. So my porch stays shady almost all day, and these will do fine. They might get a little more leggy than if they're in the sun, but they are just so versatile. I've actually used the non-branded big begonias before, and they're great also. They might get a little bit bigger than these, which I did struggle a little bit with because they would get so big and so leggy. So I'm kind of looking forward to trying these Proven Winners begonias and just, you know, observing the habit of these. If they can stay a little bit more compact and a little bit more tidy for me, I think that'll be great. I'm just tucking in lots of potting soil on all these little gaps just to make sure I don't have any empty spaces, and just leaving a little bit of a gap from the top of the container to the top of the soil so that the water doesn't all run out whenever I go to water it. There's definitely some empty spaces right in the center where these all meet together, where you can't really see very good or get to very good. All right, I think that this container is done. So let's move on to the next. Okay, this is my next container that I have. I have this white. It's a New Guinea Impatient. It loves the shade, so it'll be perfect for the porch. And then I have, this is called a Streptocarpella. It gets these really pretty purple flowers with these real wiry stems. I love it. I had it on my porch last year and it did great. Technically, it can be a house plant, so some people keep them all year round in the house. And it probably could take a little bit more light. My mom always puts them in her containers in a more sunny location, and they do great there too. So I don't know, but mine do well on my porch in shady conditions. And then I have this fern. It's not looking the best. It is, I don't even know what the name of it is. I picked it up at one of the Amish greenhouses, but it's just a real pretty, like limey, chartreuse looking fern. And I just liked the way that it popped off of these darker greens. So my thought was that maybe I could revive it. So I'm hoping that it begins to, start looking a little bit better. But so this soil is old soil from last year. So what I'm gonna do is put that into this big black pot that I have right here. And I have some rocks in there also. I am going to mix that with some fresh potting soil right here. And then I'm gonna refill my container. Oh, this isn't rocks, this is a glass. This is a glass flower frog that I had used for an arrangement, I guess this past winter. I thought it was a bunch of rocks I put in the bottom. I don't need that right now. So this is something that I did with this container right behind me. I think this geranium container. I just mixed about half fresh soil with half the amount of the old potting soil. And then what I did was add in a little bit of Osmocote as well to this, just to revive it a little bit, give it some of that slow release fertilizer for the season. Now I need to find where I put my Osmocote. All right, got it. Now, I would not use this soil on my vegetables, on my edibles. I definitely stick to an organic soil and fertilizers for all of my edible containers for sure. Okay, let's just fill this up. I'm sticking to kind of a purple, white, and green color scheme here. I will have some pops of yellow in my door arrangement, and I'm not afraid to add more color because I go with a ton of color out back. For some reason, I just always seem to stick with that color scheme for the front here, but you know, I'm not afraid to try something new out here in future years. By the way, I do hope that you all, if you're a mom, had a wonderful Mother's Day. I had a really nice day yesterday. I got to go to a greenhouse that I haven't been to yet with my family, and we just kind of hung out and we got some Chinese afterwards and just had a really relaxing day. I did take some footage of that I am thinking that I'm gonna make into just a little video for you guys. It's a little bit rough, it's a little bit shaky, and I thought I was filming at points, but I wasn't filming, and it's just a little bit of a mess. But nonetheless, it was a special day. So I may put that together for you guys just to see the greenhouse that we went to. It was pretty incredible. All right, and for my next container, I have another Surefire Rose Begonia right here. And I'm gonna use this ivy that I did not use in the container right behind me. This is a proven winner. It's just like an English ivy. And then I have another Streptocarpella for this one. This container was already filled with soil from a previous planting I tried to do. I think I tried to start seeds in here and they just did not work out. So I am going to use this for this arrangement. I might need to take out a little bit of soil so I can work with it a little bit easier. Wow, this one just wants to fall right apart. I want to make sure I point it in the direction that the vine is kind of cascading over, you know, in the right direction here. Oh gosh, the Streptocarpella definitely fell apart. Hopefully it'll be okay. Should be fine. So the Streptocarpella kind of has this like mounding habit, and then the ivy is more of a trailing, and then the begonia is kind of more of that upright thriller in this container. So it's kind of the traditional way of building a container is having like a thriller, a filler, and a spiller. So the thriller would be the begonia, the filler would be the Streptocarpella, and the spiller would be, ooh, you just got me, would be the ivy. Okay, very pretty. All right, next I have this single sun patient that I'm putting in this crock that I love. This again was a family crock, I think, yeah, passed down from my mom. I just love it so much. And then just this, I can't get it out, this sun patient. There we go. I am actually gonna put this sun patient into this container first so that I can easily take it in and out of this crock to water it and let it drain properly, because this crock doesn't have any drainage holes. So that's just a little bit of a tip. If you have a container that does not drain, you can put it inside one that does, so that you can make sure that it is draining appropriately. Next, I have this really pretty birdhouse, decorative bird cage, I'm sorry, not house, that again, my mom gave me from her stash, and it opens from the top here. And I just have this wire vine that I'm gonna be putting into this clay pot that I think will look super pretty climbing all over this bird cage. It'll just climb, it'll probably fill this entire thing. So I'm super excited to see that. So I'm just gonna take this out of its nursery container and put it into here, quick and easy. Just putting it right in, real simple, filling it in with dirt. These wire vines are nice too, because they really can do sun or shade, I have found also. So another versatile filler for containers. I have this Eugenia topiary here that I've had for a couple of years now, but it is definitely in too small of a pot of a container. It is struggling a little bit. It seems on that side it's really taking a while to start leafing out. It does lose a lot over the winter time inside, so I'm hoping that it rebounds. But I'm gonna get it into a nice container of fresh soil and give it some liquid fertilizer. Hopefully that just helps to rejuvenate it a little bit. This was pretty fresh soil. What was this? Oh gosh, there's like an acorn or something. This was something that did not turn out, so the soil is still pretty fresh. So I don't think I need to do much amending. I think it actually was like an organic potting soil with some compost mixed in that I had used for some seeds. Oh, I still need to take more out because that is too high. These Eugenia topiaries are not hardy to my zone, so they do need taken in and out for the winter, brought in as a house plant and brought back outside when it's warm enough. I got this at Home Depot. Probably this is going on its third year. I still think it needs some taken out. This was the perfect size to up pot to. You don't want to go too big, but just like an inch or so, just so that the roots can have some more room to grow. Lots of messes. I am not a very neat gardener, that is for sure. All right, this is a behind the scenes look. I stuck everything back into the driveway. So let's start putting this on the porch and see what we can come up with.
Well, the front porch is done and I am so happy with it. It is all ready for summer. I am loving the containers. This container, I am really enjoying. I love walking out to it every morning. I think it is so pretty. My sun patients, they already look like they are starting to fill in, which is crazy. And panning around to my begonias over there. Excited to see those grow. I got to give them some water. I have to give everything some water. I'm just gonna show you how I set it all up. I think it turned out really cute. I put out my sunflowers for the summer. I did these last year. They could probably use a few more in there to fill it out a little bit better, but I think it just adds a nice cheery pop of yellow on the porch. And I just grouped things together with my stand that I painted. I love how the color echoes the color of my obelisks out back. I think that's such a cute little touch with my begonias, and they will fill that out super, super nicely. And this is an old like cobbler's bench, I think, that again had been from my mom, that I use on the porch almost every year. I like that rustic touch that it adds. And this was a hosta that I had split from the front here, the front of my porch. And this is an old crock. It's like a batter crock that they used to use to pour batter from. So that's cool. I have a family with a long history of antiques and farming and all of those kinds of things. So a lot of antiques have been passed down to me. And over here I just put my Eugenia topiary and some lanterns that I've had forever from Target, and this little arrangement with the fern and the streptocarpella and the New Guinea impatient. That should fill in real nice. And I also have this star here that I've had on the porch for a long while. I would really like to figure out how to hang this on the brick wall. Ideally without having to drill into the wall, but it's been there in all my videos, just sitting there. We just haven't done anything about it. But I really think that this turned out cute. And then right over here, of course, my Boston ferns. And this is the only thing I didn't pot up yet, was this wire vine that I have here in this little terrarium that I got from IKEA. I am unsure of how to pot that inside of the terrarium, so I need to find a container for that, or I don't know if I could just pot it directly into the terrarium and maybe, I don't know, figure out some drainage for that. And then I just like to do a little grouping over here in the corner. The lighting is super bad, I apologize, but I put this arrangement with the begonia and streptocarpella, and then this little stand I've had from Aldi, and another lantern. And this is a blue mouse ears hosta that I got last year that was in the ground, and I rescued it. It just was too small to be in the ground. So I put that in a pot, and then my sun patience. So cute little corner right here. It's real cozy with the lanterns lit at night. And this is just all ready to go for the summer. Nothing super fancy and crazy, but I just think it's cute and cozy, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this porch marathon of gardening and decorating. I hope that you enjoyed it and you found some inspiration. I appreciate you watching my videos so much. I have to go in and get cleaned up. I am a dirty mess. I have to get to my son's concert, but I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye.